What do we have here? The Amazon man. He came by and brought me something. I'm going to open it with my Hinderer. Because Hinderers are fucking cool. Look at that damn thing. Fucking beautiful. Yeah, my wife bought me that. She is a good woman. I think I know what this is. This is a, what do you call these damn things? Firebird? Or Ganzo? Whatever. Firebird knife. And it is a new one. The FH924. I think it's going to be pretty cool. At least I hope it is, man. Because it looks cool. And if a Firebird knife looks really cool, usually it is cool. Because they know how to build them. They build them okay, you know? They don't build junky ones. But if they look funky, that's really usually the main issue, is that, you know, it's not the coolest looking. It looks kind of cheesy. Or it's a copy of something and it's a bad copy of something. Or it's a little smaller than I thought it would be.
That's what she said. Ha!
But man, it feels very solid. It's almost a little heavy for the size of it. So that's good. I'm glad it's not like, you know, lightweight feeling. The wire clip looks pretty cool. It's got a little back spacer. And that kind of goes out into these frame pieces or liner pieces that stick out past the carbon fiber. Now, is it real carbon fiber or is it G10 with an overlay? I'm going to guess it's G10 with an overlay, but I'm not sure yet. It's got a little filler where the part is for the pocket clip on the opposite side, so you can switch sides. That's cool. All right, let's see the blade. Very small. About a 2-inch, maybe 2.2 inch, something like that blade. Let's see, I think I got a little measuring device somewhere. The action is feeling okay. Nothing spectacular. Let's see. Oh, those are centimeters? No, I don't know. Okay, so it's 2.5-inch blade. Dead on 2.5 inches. That's cool. I wonder if it's a little dirty. Because it feels a little bit tight. Oh, man. Listen to that. Gritty. Yeah, that's real gritty. I wonder if it's overly tight, too. Almost feels like it's too tight. Let's see. Got a tool here. Looks like it must have a D-shaped pivot, because the other side doesn't have a place to put a wrench or anything. Okay, so we're going to tighten it back in. Okay, loose. Okay, that's just about there. Yep, no play. Okay. Oh, that's much better, but it still feels gritty. Got to be taken apart and cleaned, I think. You know what? Instead of cleaning it, I'm just going to run a bunch of oil through it real quick. I'll be right back after we run some oil through it and dry it off. So this is the oil that I use for knives. Like I have some high-end oils too that I just, you know, I use a little tiny bit of to really soup up, you know, the action, to put a little bit on the bearings or whatever. But in general, PTFE lubricant 3-in-1. So it's not regular 3-in-1 oil, it's the PTFE. So it's like a, I don't know if it's like, not normal oil, but like synthetic oil. I don't know what the hell it is, man. It's good oil though, works good. It's a little stinky though, so usually want to clean it out. I mean, it doesn't smell that bad. But now, let's see. No grittiness, but there's a little bit of play. And that little bit of play is pivot lash. And pivot lash means the hole in the blade where this pivot goes through is a little bit bigger than the size of the pivot. So that's me moving the blade in and out. A little of the old in and out. And it clicks because it's actually hitting the pivot on the front and the back of the hole. Now, it's not much of a difference. It's, you know, 1/1000th of an inch or whatever. But it's supposed to be a 10,000th of an inch instead of 1/1000th of an inch or whatever. So, in general, it's supposed to be pretty darn tight. But it's not. And that's because this is a very low, you know, super budget knife. Well, no, it's not a super budget knife, but it's a budget knife. It was 30 bucks, I think, 28, something like that. So, they make these things in a factory, and they try to make them as cheaply as possible. And so one way to do that is So when you're milling metals, you can do it lots of different ways. One way to do it is be very, very specific with your tolerances, make the holes exactly the right size to fit right over the pivot, and you'll have a really, really perfectly smooth action without any pivot lash, right? And then another way to do it is to run everything with a little bit of extra slop, and then that way you can run your tools, like your mill bits and stuff like that, you can run those suckers until they wear more. And that means you don't have to change them out, you don't have to buy new ones, stuff like that. So everything they do with a little bit extra slop, and that allows them to run their machines longer without, maintenance basically. So they save a few bucks by making it a little bit looser. It doesn't really bother me too much. I've had some knives that the pivot lash really bugged me. This one, it's okay. I've had some Grow in particular that were so sloppy, it was just like, ugh, no thanks. Pretty good action on this guy. Reminds me of a pillar, whatever the heck it is, from CJRB. Kind of a similar feel, similar size. The small pillar, whatever the hell it's called. But it's really solid, really nicely built. The liners are nicely polished and drilled out inside, so they're a little bit lighter, even though they're real solid feeling. Lockup is really, really good. I'm going to say 25%, something like that. Detent, I'd say the detent's a touch on the strong side, but I wouldn't change it. The only reason you might want to change it is you could get your thumb to open it a little bit easier, but really for me, I can do it. So, it takes a little bit of making sure your thumb is down in the hole. That's for sure. Let's see, if I hold it like this, can I just do it? Yeah, you can just do it. It's pretty natural. Thumb open or reverse flick. Let's see. Can I reverse flick with a weird finger? Yeah. Pinky finger? No, I don't think so. Boy, if this thing was this much bigger, just, I don't know, an inch bigger. Everyone wants to be an inch bigger. If it was an inch longer, the blade was an inch longer, man, it would really be a great EDC size. Now, it's a great fifth pocket size. I mean, really good for that. Really good for that fifth pocket, little extra knife carry. Nice and wide too. It's not real thin. Let me get another Firebird that's quite a bit bigger. So this is their version of the Rat 2. It's it's almost a full-size knife, let's say. How's the thickness though? The thickness on these two, I was thinking that the little guy's actually a tad thicker. Let's move this shit out of the way here. This little guy's actually a tad thicker. Right? That's pretty cool. So, it's not excessively thick for sure. Man, I feel like it needs a flipper. I'm surprised they didn't put a flipper on it. One thing they could have done here. They made this area here kind of like you would naturally see it, especially on a flipper knife, right? There'd be a flipper coming out here, and that would be your kind of guard on this side, and then as it closes, the flipper comes around. Now it would be sticking out over here to flip. It's almost like they made this handle for a flipper. I wonder if they'll have a flipper version. Probably not. Who knows? But the bad part about that is I can't really choke up and put my finger right here. It just doesn't feel right because of that, because it's sticking out. But what they could have done was made this sort of a choil, sort of a curved finger area right there. They could have just cut that down in. Now that would have looked weird maybe when it's closed. It would have been like a little cut down right there, and this would be sticking up. But it would be very nice as a little choke up point, and so that you'd have a really full hand grip on it if that was a place to put your finger up there. But as it stands, it's not quite a full finger grip. Yeah, so it's 3 1/4 fingers of a large hand, not an extra large hand. I know what Metal Complex says about that. Just because you wear an extra large glove, does not mean you have extra large hands. You have normal sized hands, dude. So stop running around thinking you have giant hands just because you wear extra large gloves. It's a weird little thing he has, but he has to say that a lot. I don't really get it. Are there people running around with, like, saying that all the time? Like, look at my big old hands, I wear extra large gloves. Maybe there are. I don't know. It's interesting. Interesting little obsession he has with saying that all the time. I really like the wire clip. Works well. It's almost overly long with that little duckbill part. But otherwise, let me see. Yeah, it works really well. Really well in the pocket. Very snappy with that strong detent. Pretty slicey blade. Comes down to a pretty thin edge. Yeah, nice grind lines on it. Nice satin grind. Let's see if we can kind of see the grind lines there. Maybe I'll zoom in on it. There we go. Kind of see them right there. Very cool. Handle feels good. It could use a little more radiusing on these edges. Pretty simple design. Backspacer with 2 screws going through it. Regular roll pivot. Liner lock. The lock access is adequate. It is good enough. I don't feel like I have to adjust it. If I did adjust it, the only thing I would do would be to take down this back wall a little bit, because as I push it over, I can feel my thumb, this side of my thumb, hitting this back wall on this side. But if I just shove kind of low against it, it works fine. But that would be, the fix would be basically, see how the scale is on this side cut down? You cut down the scale the same way on the other side. It's not cut down like that because they don't feel like they need to for whatever reason, but really they do, because your thumb jams up against it as the fat part of your thumb kind of goes over the lock bar and runs into that wall on the other side. Really, the lock bar should be proud compared to this side, and a little bit proud compared to this side too, so that you can have just easy access to it. I don't think I'll mess with it though, because it is good enough. Knives that have a little bit of that pivot lash, when you close them and open them, sometimes you feel this little bit of, I don't know the right word for it, kind of like a little jiggle, kind of like a little rattle as they open. But it's not an unpleasant thing. It's almost like a ka-chunk, you know, almost like a, you know, like a pistol, like racking a pistol. So it kind of gives it almost sort of a cool metallic feel. This has a neat sound when it opens. It's like a little whine. Let's see if we can hear it. There's like a whine before it comes all the way open. Like as the thing is opening, it must be the lock bar, little ball bearing detent on there, rubbing on the blade as it slides open, I guess. So let's see if we can hear it. Almost sounds like a little rink. I wonder if I could slow it down. We'll try that. We'll try and do it in slow motion. Obviously the sound doesn't work so well. Here it is in super slow-mo with no sound. Anyway, I think it's nice. Like I said, boy, if it was a little bit bigger, that would be freaking sweet. But it's not. It is what it is. QSP Penguin. Perfect comparison. Let's compare it to a QSP Penguin. This QSP Penguin is going to be given away on my giveaway. I'll put the, if this comes out before the comment, before I cut off the comments, I'll put the link to that video down below. And then you can go comment and maybe win this and like 3 other knives that are possible to win, because having a big giveaway. Let's see. I don't think I have a smaller knife out here anywhere. But, I mean, the Penguin is a 3.1 inch knife. So it's pretty, you know, it's on the smaller side. It's on the smallest side of medium, I would say. So this is, you know, definitely in the small range. But it's also kind of a tough little small knife. You know, it's a hair thicker than the Penguin too. So, you know, and it's taller. The handle's taller. The blade's taller too. So I'm not saying it's a tank of a knife, but it's a chunk of a knife. So it's no baby knife, that's for sure, even though it's on the shorter side. I kind of like it. Let's see. Wonder if it's sharp. All right, we got a little piece of paper here. Let's see if I can cut anything. Oh, that is nice and sharp, man. Not bad. Good job, guys. Good job. You know, the last Firebird / Ganzo knife I had was not very good. Or was that the one before? Anyway, it was a Halloween knife, and it was just kind of trash. This one, yeah, I would recommend it. I think it's really, really nice. That blade finish is nice. I'm going to get my fingerprints off of it. Blade finish is nice. The edge of this fuller hole is nice and just has enough catching to it to where it's not sharp, but it catches your finger. It's not super rounded off so that it, you know, so that your finger just slides past it. So I think it's pretty nice. All right. What are they calling this one? FH924. Like the Porsche 924. I'm going to call it the Porsche. Okay, that's it. It's the Firebird Porsche. Firebird Porsche. Grab one. Oh, you know what? I might do a little mod on this. I might trim this down about like that, because that's just what I usually do with things, because I can't leave shit alone. Have a nice day.